Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back for me, anyway. Let's get all the alerts out for the stream here. Good morning. Good morning. Steve will be in here any moment. Right at 9 today, we got a CPI this morning that ended up being very powerful. And then also later today, I think at 10 o'clock, we have Kevin Warsh testifying to Congress. And then tomorrow he's doing it again. Today is either the House or the Senate, one of the two, and then the other one's tomorrow. So we shall see what volatility we get from that. Missed you. What's going on? You buy houses UK. How you doing? Happy to be back. Got a question regarding yesterday. Why don't you use the data just from Monday instead of the whole week? Just got Edgeful. The reason I use the whole week is because when we're looking at the IB by rejection, if you're just refining it down to the 75 to 100%, and you're going to look at, that's where we closed yesterday. I'm going to bring up yesterday's chart. We closed within 75 to 100% of the IB, so that top quadrant. If we go over to the data and we just look at 75 to 100% for Monday, it's one stat. That's happened one time over the past 6 months. Even if we go over to the past 2 years on a Monday, there's only 5 data points for us to look at. So it skews the data. It says that the past 2 times that the highs form first over the past 2 years, which has happened once a year for the past 2 years, it's gone and broken the high. That's not really a significant data point to go and look at. So I refined it down to all weekdays instead, and then still looked at 2 years, 10 and 10. So 20 total outcomes as opposed to looking at 2. That's why I used all weekdays for that report yesterday. And it still worked pretty well. It just, you can't look at that low of a data set. Much like when you go to what's in play, we're not going to have anything on here right now, but if we go to the what's in play for Apple's gap fill and we go to the report, this is much more reliable because it's had 122 outcomes as opposed to going and looking at, let's say, outside days by weekday, refining it just to a Monday, go to report. This one's only had 6. So that's a lot less reliable than us looking at something that's had 122 outcomes. This one's had 6 total occurrences, 1, 2, and then the bearish outside day, which we had yesterday, that was 100% stat. But it's only happened 3 times, so that's not, it's 3 out of 3. It's not a true 100%. It technically is, but it's not as reliable as going to look at the gap fill in general, and then you have 122 data points you're looking at. I typically always go 6 months back. The reason that you don't really want to go any further than that is because you don't care about what the market's been doing for the past 2 years. You want what the current cycle is. The past 2 years obviously has a lot more data. gap fill report. This one's just saying 50-50 for gap ups and gap downs not getting filled. 6 months, this shows you the trend has been for the gap ups that we've had, they're more likely to fill than they were over the past 2 years. But again, going over to that 75, it's over refining it is the best answer. So for a Tuesday, we're looking at all days over the past 6 months, 25. If we refine that down to the closing zones, then we get maybe 4 per zone. Greetings from Colombia. What's going on, Luis? Luis Miguel Pinto Amara. How far back do you? I already answered that. I use all days too. What's going on, Mike? How you doing? Do you use the CPI performance report on Edgeful for anything? No, I don't even look at CPI. I think that for market data in general, no one really knows how to read it. So there's no sense in me trying to understand what that data is going to tell us. Like there's no indication on, okay, CPI came in at 3.2%, but it was anticipating 3.1. So we had a bearish move off CPI. I don't think any retail trader or even any professional trader really knows how to read CPI data. It just happens to be whatever the market makers want. So I do not look at CPI or PPI or any of that. I look at headlines in terms of quotes from Trump, but am I trading today even with CPI? Yeah. It's going to be a little difficult. I don't know why I keep closing that window. It's going to be a little difficult because we have Kevin Warsh speaking at 10. So with these testimonies to Congress, one is to the House, one's to the Senate. So today is the more impactful one because tomorrow is just the same exact 2-hour long testimony. It's difficult for us to read based on what's happening for that data or for how the market's going to anticipate the 2-hour talk that he's going to have. I think it goes for 2 hours. He's testifying to the House and then testifying to the Senate. They ask him a bunch of questions. They say, what do you think for a market like this? What's your standing on this position? What's your standing on this position? And then it kind of spirals into him just getting bombarded with questions from angry congressmen or House representatives. So it's tricky for us to go and read what's going on. Today will be hopefully rather smooth, but we obviously don't know. I hope he's not talking for that long because if it impedes on the IB, then we're not going to be able to take anything. Like if we come to 10 o'clock, let's say, starts, it's all broadcasted, by the way. I'm not going to put it on the stream, but if he comes out at 10 o'clock and the market starts moving 200 points at a 5-minute interval, we're not going to take anything off that. There's no point in us doing anything with that. So we'll see how it plays out when we get to 10 o'clock. It's right there. Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh testifies to Congress. That should go until about 12 o'clock. Should go about 2 hours. And then after that's over, we have 4 more speakers coming out. They're all doing the same thing. So we'll see how today goes. Hopefully it's not too bad. Super clear. Appreciate it, my man. Edgeful is so dope. I can't lie. Awesome. Glad you appreciate it. Edgeful has significantly helped me with trading in general. I know I'm affiliated with them, but the reports they have are top tier. And I would not be trading the way that I have been without them. We had a pretty decent move up on all individuals this morning, too. We'll see if CPI ends up going for that Newsweek low. I believe With the gap that we have right now, 1%, we still need to go up and take that new week opening gap. We have yet to fill it. If we go over to, I'll pull up Trade of 8. We go over to MNQ. We missed the gap fill by, I think, 12 points yesterday. Let's pull this up. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, I'm in the 1 minute. So our new week opening gap, we missed by 30,055 was our new week opening gap, and we hit 30,041. So we missed it by not really much, just 14 points, 15 points. We need to go and fill that. It could happen at the end of the week. It could happen Friday at 4 o'clock. It could happen today. We almost took it for Sunday night Globex and then rejected off of Asia Open. Not really sure if we had any news going with that. But now going into today, for that data, new week opening gaps, I don't think there's a report for that on Edgeful. Let's see. Report, new week. Yeah, there's no report for it. Opening gap, opening range. Maybe that's something that Andre could add in. That'd be cool. Nice to have you back. Thank you, Mark. Let's see. I don't know if we'll get. I don't really have a bias for this because we haven't swept a high or low yet. Usually, you go and hit whatever opposing direction. There's no report for that on here either. But usually, after CPI prints, you go and hit whatever the high or low wick was. With SPY gapped up only 0.23, it's probably pretty likely that we have a fill down of that gap. So we go to 0.2 here. We actually have a 50-50 stat for that. It's kind of cool. 14 gaps up of this size, 7 have filled, 7 have not. We'll see if it dips another 0.02% into open. And then maybe take something off of that. We shall see. Not getting any updates on my phone. So no impactful news. How many of you guys were hit pretty hard on Friday? Expecting a Trump candle again today? We probably will get one. Never settle I have, yes. We probably will get another Trump candle. We had one on Friday. So back-to-back days currently. Friday, we had a 360.1 minute candle. I'm actually going to go down to the 1 minute time frame for this. I got hit by that on Friday. Actually ruined my entire day for trading. Well, I guess not my entire day. I made a decent amount on my personal account, but I was up $600, $800, something like that on Tradeify. And this not only DLL'd me, I was in with, because of the size of the range on the IV, I think I was in with 4 micros, maybe 3. And this 360 point drop, it froze. And then I got filled out all the way down at like 717, maybe even lower than that. Pretty much as low as the candle went, I got filled out of. And it was a DLL and only $200 off of max loss limit on Tradeify. And I was like 3 days off of payout. That was a freak event. We were 10 points off TP on the IB, maybe 20 points, but it wasn't very much. I was up like 200 on the position. And then we had a free fall all the way down to 717 in 1 minute. And then we did the same exact thing yesterday. So we go to the 1 minute time frame from yesterday. Right at, it was just 10 minutes earlier this time, right at 10:16, we had another 200-point candle down in 1 minute, and then it recovered the entire thing. Luckily, yesterday I was in short. I had a short off of the orb, which I mentioned in the stream to Andre. I thought he would think it would be pretty cool. I shorted off the orb for MNQ, retested into the orb, shorted it, and then I don't know if it was my stop loss that filled on Weeble or I had a sell order that filled, and then I checked my Weeble and it said that I got filled out almost at the low of that candle, or the low of the day, 7:13:15, something like that. So I got pretty lucky yesterday, but there's literally nothing you can do about these moves up and down other than try to avoid them by not being in the market or not being exposed to the market. I always say that the longer you're in the market, the more often you're going to get hit with those news candles. Obviously, it's just a factual statement there. There's nothing you can do about it, though. Like Friday, especially, that was awful. Friday was terrible in every aspect because it was a 10:32 random tweet from Trump that caused a $8 drop on Qs and then recovered the entire thing and went higher for the rest of the day. You tried the IB25. I'm only this week, because of the volatility, I'm only going to be getting my entries at the IB50. So I haven't had any entries yet this week. Yesterday we had some pretty nasty divergence. QQQ ended up taking the IB high, and then we had a double break because SPY didn't take the IB high, and then SPY ended up going all the way to the low. This wasn't a trade that I had yesterday. I was trying to show that with the data for IBs like this, there's no advantage to trying to take the IB at the IB 75 or 25 if one of them breaks or one of them doesn't, because then based on what the data is telling you, you have to put your stop loss all the way at the bottom. So for yesterday's instant, when the IB closes between 75 and 100%, you have an 88% stat that you go to the IB high. If I were to enter that yesterday where we closed, do I enter at the 75 because the data is telling me that we have a 90% stat to go to the high? And if so, where do I put my stop loss? Do I put it 1-to-1? Do I put it at the 75? Do I put it all the way down to the low? If I put it at the low, I would be risking, I think it was $240 on that. And then I also have to include the fact that if it hits the stop loss, I'm going to pivot the position to short. So then that's another $120 risk. And that's just on one micro as well. So all of those parameters for risk reward, or looking at offerings on the stock and seeing how long it's going to take to go down or up, or everything that is included for the IB with the flip at the 75, we need to keep track of. And if we don't, then we're going to be over risking on each position, and then it's just going to cause a massive loss. Tesla ended up holding that move up. It did. Nice. What about socks? Old socks end up. Oh, that's so sad. I had a 165 call that I was going to swing overnight. That stinks. Realized the $640 loss on that yesterday. Those are probably going to open at like 40. That sucks. Oh well. CPI, I kind of predicted that. I didn't want to hold through CPI anyway. It's okay. What's the difference between a gap and an outside day? Right now, we actually have just an inside bar on both SPY and Qs. Barely inside. Qs just bounced off a previous day's high, actually. An inside bar, an outside day, is dependent on previous day's range. A gap, you always have a gap every single day. A gap is measured by this bottom right metric. we're currently gapped up $7.57, 1.06%. $1.67 for a gap up on SPY, but we're within previous day's range. QQQ is outside of previous day's range. Today's news, yes. We have news at 10 o'clock. We have Kevin Warsh speaking. We had CPI this morning, and then we have Kevin Warsh and 4 other speakers. This one at 10 o'clock is going to be heavy hitting. Tomorrow, it's going to be the same exact thing, so it shouldn't be as significant, but at 10 o'clock, this goes for 2 hours. So this will be from 10 to noon today. We're going to have him speaking. Of course, it has to be on a Tuesday as well, the cursed Tuesdays. I was on vacation, ZitRTH. I'm sure I pronounced that. Last Friday, I thought I was in a trade with 5 Lucid copied. By the grace of God, they somehow weren't connected, so didn't get nuked. Only lost 1 funded. Could have been worse. That is very lucky. Did anyone in here get whacked from the Alpha Futures fiasco? Which Alpha Futures, so I made a tweet yesterday. I want to go and pull it up because it's kind of funny. I was spot on. I was telling this to Andre too. So my tweet from yesterday was Alpha Futures is hiding something removed from NinjaTrader Trade8 for competing platforms. Lucid Tradeify, MyFunded Futures, Top Step's no longer with NinjaTrader or Trade8, but all these top platforms have competing platforms. So Lucid has TradeC, TradeFi has TradeC, MyFunded Futures has Fintivo. All these top firms have competing platforms with NinjaTrader. And then come to find out, I got this email last night, and I read it this morning. This is directly from Trade8. I never get emails from Trade8, almost never. They said this morning that Alpha Futures had 90 days as of last week. So whatever 90 days from, let's say, July 7th was, October 7th, for their evaluations and trading and everything else to carry on as normal. Instead, they terminated, so this whole email reads that Alpha Futures was 3 months late. We also reminded Alpha Futures that their outstanding balance is more than 3 months past due and is currently in breach over their evaluation services agreement with Trade8. Instead of paying it over the weekend, Alpha Futures chose to remove Trade8 from its platform selections and announced plans to be moved to Alpha Trader. So they had 90 days. They had until October to make everything right. Instead, they, over the weekend, terminated their agreement with Trade8. Probably not going to pay them, I'm assuming. I don't know what the payment would be, but it's probably in the hundreds of thousands. And then they terminated all pending and in-transit payouts, meaning that if you requested a payout from Alpha Futures, let's say last Wednesday, that payout is no longer being sent, and you're just getting refunded for what you spent on the account. So if you qualified, which many, many people did, if you were qualified for a 10K payout, or the worst one that I saw was 20,000, he had a 10K payout that was in transit and then a 10K payout that he requested. He lost that $20,000 and he's instead refunded the $800 it costed him to get the 5 accounts. So they terminated everyone's plans because they were past due on their bills, not because they were in competition with Trade8. So they lied. They lied. Scummy thing to do. You can call me Zid. I actually managed to get out with scratch because NQ slightly lagged. ES, I had both the charts closed immediately when I saw ES, but was honestly lucky when I got filled. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, that's a very scummy thing to do. Past due on their bills, and then they avoid all the payouts that were in transit. 1.19% gap right now. It's hard to say. Typically for these moves, I like to see price go up to, let's see. Our current high is 922. I don't know what I was looking at on my phone. I had futures open on my phone. Our current high is 922. Typically, we go in and hit whatever side we don't sweep. So right now, I'd be anticipating us going up to the high because we've yet to sweep the high, and data should indicate that we're going to follow suit with what the initial move was. Had we swept the high on that second 15-minute candle or 5-minute candle, then that signals that we should be anticipating a move down to the lower wick. But right now, it's a coin flip, which way we're going to go. How was the week off, Unk? It was awesome. Great. I had a great time. Much needed little mental reset. Not that the market's been, the market has not been doing that hot for the IB, but still. Back up to 830 right now. I think we get the high. Only thing is that SPY with this gap, it's not terribly likely that it doesn't get filled. I mean, it's 50-50 there, but QQQ, it's very likely that it does not get filled. Between 1 and 1.49 right now, we're gapped up 1.22. We have a 12% chance that this gap gets filled. So it's very unlikely that we move all the way down to that low 710. It's also up in the air because of Kevin Warsh speaking at 10. Did I end up going to that World Cup match you were talking about a while back? No, I did not. It was so it was France and Norway, I think. Yeah, France and Norway in Boston, but the tickets were like $2,200 for nosebleeds. It was quite literally the third row back from the highest up you could be. I don't know how many people know Foxborough, but that is like 400 feet in the air, 300 feet in the air at least. And it was $2,000 for it. Too much. Much rather just watch it from or on a TV. And then Foxborough is also hectic to get out of. But we did have a grand old time with the Norwegians after. It's pretty fun. All right, we have 15 seconds. There is no indication of which way we're going to go into open. The only thing that we have on SPY is this gap filling to the downside because it's barely gapped up. QQQ is gapped up over 1%, so it's very unlikely that this fills to the downside. Let's see what those Soxal calls open at, shall we? 165s. I sold them at 14.2, and they're at 31.4 right now. So that would have been like a 8K profit position. Oh, well. That's disappointing. Roth IRA is up. I used my futures profits recently to contribute or have a max contribution to my Roth, which is kind of cool. I think I don't have anything else to put in there. Nice. So we're going to be probably teetering right at this open for the next 30 minutes. This is the first testimony that Kevin Warsh is going to have to Congress. It's hard to say if we're going to go up or down right off the bat right now. I have no indication of which way we're going to head. Gap fill says that we should go down. In that case, though, if we do go down, if we continued lower, it's more likely that we pivot back up and take that Newsweek high. We'll see. Is there any chance you could explain the gap fill report in this case? I'm a little confused with it. So the gap fill report is only, you can go into Edgeful and it tells you right at the top what the gap was. So for QQQ right now, we have a gap up between 1 and 1.49. If you go to TradingView, that's the gap that's in the bottom right. So obviously we're open now. It's not accurate to what the gap was, but our gap into open was 1.12%, which is between that gap of 1.1 or 1.0 and 1.49. We have a 12% stat that we go and fill that. We go over to SPY. SPY's gap was between 0.2 and 0.39, so we have a 50% stat that we go and fill that gap. That's why I'm anticipating downside right now. But it's not all that significant that we have a fill to the downside. It's up in the air. CPI. Any big plays on CPI? We're about to get the gap fill right now. We take trades today. We'll see. Again, the big one is at 10 o'clock. Kevin Warsh, first testimony to the House and the Senate. That one, we don't really have that significant of a read on. We're not going to be able to kind of identify which one will have a continuation up or down. QQQ, I believe, should have a continuation up. I don't think that's going to have a pivot to the downside, but we'll see. It's all based off the gap fill as well. Almost at that gap fill now. Learned a lot watching your streams. Bless you. Thank you, Red to Million. Goal is to avoid being in whatever that crazy news that comes in. Yes. So my new rule for this week is only entering at the 50%. I don't mind the entries at the 25%. As I've stated multiple times before, the profit factor remains the same. Sometimes the 25% entries, you get a lot more frequent. So you're in the trade for profit. And then the ones that you do lose, not too many, because it's a lot more likely that you have, based on that IB by rejection and then going into the 0 to 25% closing time frame. All weekdays, when we close within the upper quadrant, we have an 88 and 92% stat that we go and take the low and or high. And that's with 33 and 40 data points. So when we close at 25% of the IB, it's much more likely that we go to the high or low, whichever one is supposed to go and hit is the one that will likely hit when we close in that zone. However, with the volatility we've been having and exactly what happened on Friday, we closed over the midpoint. We had a pretty nice move to the upside. We were off TP by nothing at all, 40 cents on QQQ. So that translates over to probably like 15 points, 12 points maybe. And then we had Trump come out with a Newsweek that dropped us from 724 all the way down to 716. So an $8 drop in a minute, and then we recovered all the way back up. Because of this volatility, I'm decreasing what the risk is to the trade. I don't care if I don't get as many entries. I just don't want to be in more of these news wicks, which we've had 2 in the past 2 trading days. And then also on Thursday last week, we had another news event. Ended up happening far before the IB was closed, so there was no entry on that, but it caused us to go and take the high, even though we closed underneath the midpoint. And then you can see we've had, let's see, Thursday, July 2nd was the last day that we didn't have a V-shaped reversal. That was this July 2nd, so 12 days ago. That was the last time we didn't have a V-shaped reversal. Monday, July 6th, we went up, had a V-shape right back down. Same exact thing with Tuesday, July 7th, down $10 on Qs, which is 400 points. And then we had a V-shape all the way back up to the 75. Ended up being a no break. Wednesday, July 8th, V-shape from 700 all the way back up to 712. V-shape here on July 9th. And then obviously everyone knows what happened Friday. And then same exact thing with Monday yesterday. We actually had 2 V-shapes yesterday. So we'll see if that continues into this week. Did we fill the gap right there? I don't believe so. No, we did not. Got pretty close. Close was 749.19. We have yet to take the Newsweek low as well. Zing seems to know Edgeful better than anyone else. I put a lot of time into it. Andre knows it better than me, but not too many other people do. Andre and James, most likely. But Andre is the CEO of the app, so. Agreed, I come to the stream for Zinc too. Why, thank you. I honestly missed you. I learned how much watching your stream. You're not on stream. It was my 2nd year anniversary, so I went on a little vacation to where we got married. Andre's messaging me right now talking about the Alpha Futures thing. It is actually insane that they canceled. Alpha Futures canceled their en route and pending payouts. That's crazy to me. Pending. Nice. Yes, you heard that correctly. And this is it just goes to show how sketchy some prop firms are. Like Alpha Futures has been around for 3 years? They're not terribly big because they're based in Europe and they have a lot of additional charges to trading US assets. But if you had a payout request that got approved and your payout was en route, they canceled that payout. So $10,000 again, I'm just going to base it off of that. If you had a $10,000 payout en route to your account, they canceled that payout and refunded you let's say $800, because I think those Alpha premium accounts were like $120. So $600 is what you got refunded instead of getting your 10K. But there's one post on X that someone had 20K en route for payouts and they refunded $600 to him. Canceled both his payouts. He had 2 payouts. One of them got approved, and the second one he requested, that was pending. And then over the weekend, Saturday, they released that they're not going to be paying anyone out. No one's going to use them after this. I mean, they just absolutely torched their reputation. Torched it. What portfolio should I invest in or invest more in? They have a whole bunch on Webull. They have portfolios, invest more. I want to put all of it into ESG. If only there was an Edgeful report for portfolios like this. For ETFs and whatever else. Nice. We are just teetering right at where I anticipated, right, to open. Not really a significant move up or down right now. Would War speaking cause an increase in volatility? Yes. This is his first one. Huge vacuum not having you all last week. Sorry about that. This is Kevin Warsh's first discussion or first testimony, so this is going to be a very significant one, especially the one that we have today. For anyone that doesn't know how these testimonies work to the House and Senate, I believe it will probably be the House first. It's usually the House first, and then the Senate goes second. Wednesday, he does the same exact thing. Tomorrow, he does the same exact thing. So he's not going to... This one won't be as significant. It's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. He testifies again to Congress. If we go to FOMC calendar, maybe it tells us which one is which for today. We'll see. FOMC calendar. We go to July. FOMC meetings. 2021, 2026 all the way at the top. I just missed it because I'm stupid. It was. Okay, so he is, for July, the meeting is the 28th to the 29th. That's the FOMC calendar. Let's look at the Fed calendar now. Fed calendar 2026. I don't want the FOMC ones. I want these ones. Nope. Federal Reserve Bank. Well, this is not what I used to find. Anyway, it doesn't really matter which one it goes to today. Tomorrow won't be as significant, but today, this is his first time doing it. This is his first time getting roasted by, that's essentially what it is. He goes and gets roasted by Congress, and they say how good of or how bad of a job he's doing. Would you look at the dollar for extra confluence in the opposing direction before taking a position in NQ and ES? No, not really much of a reason to. The dollar isn't a significant asset by any means. This is the only thing that you can really use the dollar for is over a multi-month or even year time frame. If the dollar is higher, and this is what I was taught many, many years ago. This is when macroeconomics. The dollar is supposed to hover at 100. That means that the dollar is equal to $1. If the dollar is over 100, that means assets are going to be cheaper because this is just the denominator for whatever SPY or QQQ or anything in the market's worth. So if QQQ is currently trading at 700, and the dollar is trading at 100, QQQ is 1-to-1 to what it should be worth. If the dollar goes up to like what it was September and October of last year, or even February of this year. Oh, this is September, October 2022, my bad. If it goes up to 114 and QQQ was supposed to be trading at 100 or 700, the numerator for this, sorry, not the numerator, the denominator for this now is 114, not 100. So whatever 700 divided by 114 is, let's see. 700 divided by 114, so it would be trading at 614 instead of 700. And that's just based off of the dollar's value is. If the dollar goes down, all assets go up in price. If the dollar is hovering right at 100, everything has its fair market value. So it's not something that you use on a day-to-day time frame. There's no reason to go and use it on a 15-minute time frame, especially because the dollar doesn't typically move more than like 40 cents, 50 cents at a time. So there's not much of a swing in movement there. Would wash speaking cause you to not trade? We'll see what happens at 10. It's 30 minutes before the IB finalizes, so hopefully we get a read on what the volatility is there. If it's significant, we're probably not going to trade the IB today. Again, all my entries are going to be at 50% this week. All entries are going to be at IB 50. We have divergence right now. We do. I think we should go and make a new high on Qs. If not, we go and make a new low on SPY. Not too worried about the divergence right now. I don't know if I'm being stupid, but what's an easy way to see the gap? Can't really see it on TradingView. Yes, you can. You can't see it now, but check at like 9:25 until the 9:30 open, and whatever it says in the bottom right, it will say market open, and then underneath that it will say pre-market, or it will say market close, and underneath that it says pre-market. Whatever that pre-market gap is, that's what you go and plug into Edgeful. If you don't want to look at whatever the gap is into open on TradingView, Edgeful has it when you go into gap fill by size right here at the top. It says what the gap was for the day. And you can also go into what's in play. What's in play will show you the gap fill. It will show you all the top reports for the day. So this one is Tesla inside bars by previous day size. Previous day size 3 to 3.99%. We have a 100% stat right now, and this is with 25 data points. So this is actually a really significant one for Tesla today. This shows that Tesla should break out of previous day's range, as it's done the past 25 times with this size. So either up to 405 or down to 392. It's probably going to go down to 392 with that being closer. It's ultimately right in the middle of previous day's range, though. This one, actually, yeah, it's right at previous day's 50. It's slightly closer to the downside, so there's no real measure there for bias. But if you don't want to locate what the gap was, you can just go into what's in play, and it will show you. SPY also has a pretty significant chance of having a break of previous day's range. I would be probably leaning to the upside since we almost took the Newsweek low, but again, 10 o'clock, Kevin Warsh speaking. No, it's not just between 9. The gap that you have for the day is the entire move we make from New York close to New York open on the following day. New York closes at 4 o'clock. So whatever the move that you make from 4 o'clock to 9:30, the following session is your gap for the day. We shall see. We'll see what the volatility brings in. We do have Dan Cook coming on in 10 minutes. See what he has to say about this today. I imagine he's probably going to be doing the same thing that I'm doing, with not really anticipating much for a move prior to Kevin Warsh not being done. So hopefully once he finishes his talk, it will die down in the volatility. We'll be all set to take anything. Yes, I only take the 10:30. The reason that I only enter at 10:30 now, there's no more front runs for the IB, because we go into the IB by rejection report, and you can go into the customized report and go and look at the closing zones. If we close over the midpoint on the IB, it significantly decreases our stats for going to the low and or high. So when the highs form first, but we close over the midpoint, there's a 72% stat that we continue up to the high. And that's with 7 and 5 data points over the past 6 months. If you go over the past 2 years, stays pretty constant with that report. just goes down slightly to 52, but the data points also increase from 7 to 35. So it's pretty much a coin flip once you close over the midpoint. If you close under the midpoint, it goes up to 65% for both, 60 and 62 actually. And then when you close over 25%, 0 to 25% of the IB, it's very significant, or it's very likely that you have a continuation to the direction you were looking for. And that's with 120 and 163 data points. So the closing zone of the IB, very significant. That's why I no longer front run the IB. I always wait. This is what I was fearing for today. I do not think we're going to get a significant break up or down until Kevin Warsh starts talking in the next 8 minutes. And even when he does start talking, is that going to increase the volatility and cause us to make these 200.5 point candles, 200.5 minute candles, or is it going to kind of ease off a little bit? We'll see. We haven't moved really at all into open. This is a 120 point range right now on the IB. So we're definitely waiting for Kevin Warsh. This is actually the lowest range we've had on the IB for weeks. If you don't want to call it the IB, then call it the 15-minute orb. This is the smallest range we've had on the 15-minute orb for weeks. Does Edgeful have 5-minute orb strategies included for all indices? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You can go into the orb report. So reports, orb, and customize, and then move it down to a 5-minute time frame. And this will show you the stats for the 5-minute orb. Probably don't need 2 years worth of data for that, but for the 5-minute orb, we have a 70% stat that it goes in double breaks. So if you see one side of that orb break, which we're actually still within the 5-minute orb right now, if you see one side of that break, scratch that. We did break the downside. So we have a 70% stat that price goes and reverses and takes the high right now. That's a pretty cool data report to go and look at. How would that have worked yesterday? It did, in fact, work. We broke the low, 5-minute orb low at 9:35, and then we ended up breaking the 5-minute orb high at 11 o'clock. I like that. I might have to, let's bookmark that. I might have to add that in. Opening range breakout, we have a 70% stat that it double breaks. So if we see one side of that break, we have a 70% likelihood that we go and break the upside. That's pretty cool. What about 5-minute? I refuse to look at YM. I will not do that. YM stinks. We do still have divergence right now. Not really doing anything though, sadly. Maybe, I mean, longs could be in play. I don't mind them. On the same note, that would be a long to the orb high with the double break stat. On the same note, we still haven't taken the Newswick high or Newswick low, so there's no bias up or down there. We have 5 minutes until we see probably a pretty massive candle. I still want to go and see the upside get taken, but again, we haven't taken the Newswick low or high yet, so there's no bias to going in the opposite direction. The 1 minute is so funny right now. Let's see. What's the 1 minute chart look like? This is the worst type of market that you can trade in for making profit on your accounts. Because if you lose your first trade, right, you try inversing the position. So if I was short, let's say, I see the first 5-minute candles are down. If I go short, anticipating a continuation to the downside, and I get stopped to the upside, I pivot my position to go long, and then I get stopped to the downside, then I pivot my position to go short, and then I get stopped to the upside again. That's how people go and churn and blow their accounts continuously. Lucid's website's down again. Lucid and Tradeify went and stole all of the people that were running from Alpha Futures, which I can't imagine was that much, but they probably have a crazy amount of increased volatility. Three minutes to go. Anyone have any guesses? Let's put a poll in chat. Let's find a poll. Hold on. Widgets. Create poll. Do we spike up or down at 10 o'clock with Kevin Marsh speaking? Option 1 is up. Option 2 is down. Go ahead and create that. Start and show. All right, type 1 in chat or 2 if you think we're going to spike up or down. Kevin Marsh starts talking at 2 minutes. So type a 1 or 2 in chat if you think we're gonna. 1 if you think we're gonna spike up. 2 if you think we're gonna spike down. 3 for both. I should have put that in. My bad. You guys have a minute to type it in. Looks like we're favoring upside so far, 77%. 1 or 2 in chat. Spike up or down. I need 300 to pass 5 evals. Do not, Sam, don't try to push it today. Today is not, 300 is a cursed number with trying to pass evals or get payouts, I swear. Anytime I'm $300 away, I always fumble. Always fumble it. All right, we got 30 seconds left, and the poll is heavily favoring an upside push. What's going on, Dan?
Good morning, mate. How you doing?
Good, good.
How was the vacation?
Great. Real quick. You got 30 seconds. Do we spike up or down with Kevin Warsh about to speak?
Oh, is he speaking now? Up.
Up.
All
right, heavily favoring an upside push from everyone. He testifies to Congress for the next 2 hours, just so you know.
Of course he did. Because we haven't got enough news events happening at the moment in recent times.
Right, we'll go ahead and close that poll. We had 81% leaning to the upside. Widgets. Stop poll. The ones are winning. Psych.
Man.
Right back down. This is going to be a pretty cursed Tuesday right now. So he testifies to Congress for the next 2 hours until 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
9 o'clock for you.
Damn. There we go. Anyway, mate, how was the holiday anyway?
It was great.
Yeah.
I went just island hopping off the coast of Maine.
Wait. Ah, okay. Oh, wow. was gonna say, because you don't fly very often, right? Do I have a memory of you saying that?
Yeah, I've only flown 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on ending your job, by the way.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, crazy.
More
It still
education for
hasn't.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it still hasn't sunk in yet. I think because it's like, as a teacher now, it would be my summer holiday. So
Yeah.
for me, like, this still feels like my summer holiday as such, you know.
will.
But one thing I have noticed though is that I have no idea about dates anymore. Like, I have no idea what date it is anymore. Like, I was every morning writing the date on my board and stuff, and now I'm not. I completely have no idea about dates at all. So
time flies by.
That's the next thing. Yeah, it will, I'm sure.
What's your while we're waiting for this little volatility to play out, we are losing the divergence right now, by the way. So SPY is anticipating an upside break, Q's is anticipating a downside break.
Yeah.
Cool report that I just found. The 5-minute orb with more than enough stats. We have a 70% stat that we go and double break it. So that 5-minute opening candle, 5-minute on Q's, we broke the downside already. We have a 70% stat that we go and break the upside for today.
What's that? The 15-minute double break?
This is the orb refined down to the 5-minute time frame. The 15-minute wasn't all that significant, but someone asked in chat about the 5-minute. I pulled it up and just saw that. 15-minute is just a 50-50, but the 5-minute orb, we have a 70% stat to go and double break it. It's kind of cool.
That's cool. That's really good.
Robert said, I am 16 months ahead of you. Best move I've ever made. Yeah, my wife quit September of last year. So just coming up on a year of being done with teaching. And she has no idea what time of the year it is. I mean, she knows what time of the year it is, but she no idea what day of the week it is anymore is what I should have said.
Yeah, I'm getting there with the days of the week. I am, my Tuesdays and my Wednesdays are already mixing together, and I've only been, full-time trading for about a week. So yeah. Come back to me after a few months. You're gonna have to be messaging me, going, Dan, stream, where are you? Happy thing it's Friday.
Just get a whiteboard for your room to start writing the date on. Just a little tiny one.
Yeah.
So you can keep that schedule.
I think I do. I need it.
We have a 130-point range right now on the IB, 35 minutes in.
Small.
Looking like we're going to go and take a new low, but I probably won't be touching any of this for the rest of the day.
No.
This is pretty nasty.
No.
This 5-minute chart looks like kind of like an H.
It's it's never a good sign when one candle makes up the high and low of the IB. It basically does, doesn't it? The first 5-minute candle makes up the high and low. Nearly. Is it?
Yeah,
is
it's
it
pretty
that
rough.
candle? Yeah.
Yep. It's 5-minute candle. We did break it with a little tiny wick. Little teeny tiny wick.
We did.
We broke it by 5 cents.
Yeah.
So probably 1 point. What do you think about the whole alpha futures fiasco?
Yeah, it's one of those where I think you got to expect the unexpected of new with prop firms. And I think I did a post on X just today about it. I think like you diversify anything in life, especially with financial capital, you shouldn't put all your investments into one stock, and you shouldn't put, do you know what I mean? You got to diversify. Yeah. And I think with prop firms, I think it's exactly the same thing. If you've got all your eggs in one basket or one prop firm, you're leaving yourself at risk that if that prop firm goes down and all your payouts go down the drain with it, then you're stuck, aren't you? But if you got different baskets of different prop firms, copy traded, or do you know what I mean? Like, it just diversifies your risk.
Absolutely.
But I did. That's a big disclaimer though, because if you've never taken a payout before, don't do that. Stick with one firm, because a prop firm going under is the least of your concern if you've never taken a payout. Because if you've never taken a payout, then it doesn't really matter to you, does it? If it goes under. You just lose an $89 account. But it's one of those where funding pips became funding ticks. CFD entered the futures space, didn't survive.
Yep.
Alpha Capital becomes Alpha Futures in the futures space. CFD firm in the futures doesn't survive again. So it's I don't know if that's just coincidence, but it
Could
seems to
be.
be a pattern playing out there. But yeah, it's
Nico
interesting. Did you have any
said-
accounts with them?
I did not. No.
No.
I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Nico said, "Why do you guys not day trade stocks if they have these massive spikes with Trump tweets?" I do actually day trade stocks. I trade options with them still. That's why I was talking about first thing on the stream this morning. I had a Soxel call that I was going to swing overnight. Obviously, I didn't because of CPI, but had I held it, I would have ended up making like 8,000. I've been doing really well. I was supposed to connect it today. I'll make sure I have it connected tomorrow. I got to figure out how to go about doing that. I've been doing really well on my personal futures. I have been sucking on prop firms though.
That's interesting.
The DLLs and consistencies, especially on Friday. So Friday I got DLL'd by that 1 minute candle. And I got slipped by like another $400, $500. So I basically lost the entire Tradeify account on 3 micros.
Yeah.
We had a 360 point drop in 1 minute.
The slippage on Friday, it was one of those where I risked $160 on most of my accounts. And the slippage cost me, it was like the final loss on the trade was like $230, $240 per account. But the top step accounts, they slipped hard. Like I lost $430 on all my top step accounts with $160 risk. So for some reason, they just got slipped harder than any. But yeah, Friday sucked.
They have much more delayed data than anywhere else.
Yeah, well, it showed. It showed.
But I got slipped bad on Tradeivate with Tradeify. The 1 minute chart froze at, I don't know, like probably 29.9. And then this thing just dropped by 300 points in the very next candle open. Like when it finally opened, that's when I ended up getting filled because I had my stop at the IV75. And even the sad thing is, even if I had moved my stop to break even, the same thing probably would have happened. Friday was cancer. Yes, it was. Friday was awful.
It's one of those when it happened, because I was on another stream on that day, and I think my face was in a frozen smile for about a minute or two.
Yeah, I was on.
I was shocked
too, and I was stunned. All the clips were kind of funny from it though. Saw a lot of streamers doing the same thing. What the heck just happened? What just happened?
Yeah. I was about 10 points away from TP. It was a good trade, and yeah, it sucked.
Simon said you were raking it in before Edgeful too. No, actually, I was doing better with Edgeful than I was. I was still making a decent amount before I started using Edgeful, but Edgeful like tripled how much I was making on props. Maybe it was just a coincidence with lining up. I don't think so. But when I started making a lot on the prop firms, I started getting banned from them. So I don't have very many that I can use now. Very many reliable ones anyway. I've been transitioned to live on 2, and then I've been banned on 2.
What were you trading before Edgeful? Like, what was your
I used
strategy?
the previous day's 50 and London 50.
Okay.
So marking out
50%.
Yep. And that correlated over to the IB. So marking out for today, if I still used it, we opened above previous day's 50. So we should be bullish, but it all gets overridden by news as well, same as anything else.
Yeah.
So you mark out previous day's high. This is extended session high, and previous day's low, extended session as well. And then if we're over the 50%, we should be bullish. If we're under, we're bearish. And then you look for bullish setups off of the pre-market time frame, which is for today kind of tricky with CPI. We would have been bullish on that as well, which I guess you could have caught a little long right at open, right at 9:35, but I had the same rule for that trading strategy: no trading during the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, good rule.
Friday, I was 2 minutes from take profits. Was Barron waiting for me? He probably was. Barron Trump's the only one that made any money on Friday. I know you probably had the same exact trade I did. I was 10 points off TP on the IB on Friday.
Yeah,
Actually,
it just made sense. Let me just show what I was seeing. Let me just.
You removed me.
Oh, oops. There we go.
There you go.
So what I was seeing on Friday, this was what I was seeing. So basically, low form first, high form second, and we also had the previous session high above us as well. So this was like
perfect.
This was like A+ for me. I got 2 data points. I think previous session high was like 89%. It was going to go to the high or low of the day. And because it was so close to the high, I was thinking, okay, 89% to the high. The IB high, I think it was like 76% chance that we were going to take out the IB high when the low forms first. So,
a little bit higher than that. It's 86 for Friday.
Pull me up. Pull me up on the
It was very likely that we had to move up to the high.
Yeah. But I mean, from a VWAP perspective as well, we were sitting beautifully, bouncing off the daily VWAP and the New York VWAP, which is the yellow one. So for me, I was just loving it. And then when I was in the trade, I got look at that.
Yeah,
that's how much.
I actually, on that trade, I put my TP up at previous day's high because of how likely it was to go and hit that.
I may have held it as well.
But
I may have held it a bit longer as well.
So it was 10:32. I was 10 points off with the wick up that we had to start the candle. I'm stealing it back. This was that's where it froze at like 722, 721. I know it froze just above my stop loss, and then I got filled out almost all the way down at 717, which I think was like 29.6, maybe even a little bit lower. So my stop loss slipped by almost 200 points on that move down.
Yeah, same here.
And that just unlucky as can be. And I was in it because it was a pretty small range. I was in it with 3 M&Q, and I was already up on the day. That's why I also sized in. And that slipped down. And I think what made it sting even more was the fact that
it did what we expected it to do.
Going all the way up. I mind that time frame. Ended up going all the way up, not only to the high, but previous day's high as well.
Yeah.
All the way into close there, right there. So it took previous day's high at 1227.
Yeah.
After this whiplash.
It's interesting what you say as well about the freezing, because the stream that was on Friday, I was trading NQ. The other lads on the stream were trading MES. And it was interesting because at the time when it happened, I was just talking something random about England and the World Cup. And they just suddenly stopped listening to me and were talking about what was on their chart, because MES seemed to just react a little bit sooner to the news compared to MNQ. It was really weird. And I think that candle had already happened to them. And then on my chart, it just started doing it. And then it started going down. So it was just crazy.
I said, have fun. We're still diverged right now on the IBs, unfortunately. I saw that question in chat. SPY is anticipating a high break. QQQ is anticipating a low break. The London Orb is 89% double break on the 5-minute. That's pretty cool. I don't have anything for this right now, Dan.
For me, it's the chop for the first 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes of the New York session. The start was just pure chop.
What's the date, Dan?
What's the date? It's the 14th because TradingView tells me so.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. Is it not Friday? Not Friday, no? Not the end of the week. No, it's just
Nico. Another one.
I'm loving this.
Guys, can I ask you something that IB works well in DAX too, right? According to reports. Also, what days in your experience are best for the IB? Not Tuesday. Tuesday is actually one of the worst days of the week for the IB. Tuesday not only for the IB, but Tuesday in general is one of the worst days of the week for all stats on Edgeful. The Tuesday teas, Dan's got it right there. Even VWAP is perfect. VWAP's angled up, but we're anticipating down.
But this is what I hate about this, is that New York VWAP is way too high for me. Way too high for any entry for me.
Yeah. Is it
Like,
because
right
it
now.
took
That's just like
took that 35 minutes to get moving somewhere?
exactly. I'll tell you what, I have to, because it feels like forever since we just like did any like had price action that was normal. And I went through my trade zealot and I tried to find a day where it was like beautiful, right? Beautiful. And I come back to Friday, the 5th of June. Honestly, out of all, no huge ranges, no chop, just normal price action. This is one of the last days I can remember where actually it just acted beautifully.
Yeah.
Like it feels like the past month and a bit have been tough. And I have to admit as well, I've been trading more IB 75 rather than IB 25, a lot more actually over the past month or so, because it just keeps doing that V shape, doesn't it? It just keeps reversing inside the IB all the time. So yeah, trying to react and adapt at the moment. But I wouldn't like shorts here at the moment. For me, this is just way too far. I would want the VWAP to be around about something like this.
Yeah.
That's what I would like. And
a little bit more angled down.
This, not in the way. The daily VWAP in the way that I've been turning that on a bit more recently because price has been reacting to it. If we go to yesterday's, if I just pull up yesterday's price action. So this one, oh no, not this day. So see, this is it now. I don't know days. I'm trying to find the right day and date. So yesterday's trade, look at that. Daily VWAP was in the way. For me, it just put me off massively. I know it did eventually go and take the IB high, but daily VWAP did act as a form of resistance on it, and I just didn't fancy that, just playing into that really.
Yeah.
From yesterday. But yeah. Yeah, it's hard. But it's just being patient, isn't it? You know, how many traders blew accounts?
Yeah, probably a lot. I have the data for you right now. Friday was one of my biggest days for, I don't know if I could call it the biggest day. I had a really good day in my personal because I traded after I moved 2,000 into a futures account on Webull and ended up taking the longs all the way up. But prop firms, like I said, I've been sucking on. For Friday, let's see. I'll go back to it right now. Friday referrals ended up being 4 pages worth on Lucid. And then the bundles on Tradeify is where most of it has been coming from because it's a lot more people enjoy buying 5 accounts at a time for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That one had 40 emails, so 200. I didn't go and look if all of them were individual or bought together.
Yeah.
I'm assuming most of them were bundles. Where would you prefer the daily view up, higher up or below, Dan?
If I was looking for shorts, I would want the daily VWAP to be above, ideally. So I want the daily VWAP to be above. Ideally, I want to be the right side of both VWAPs. Now, it doesn't mean I'm always entering the right side of VWAPs. Sometimes I will take a reversion trade to the VWAP. For me, if the daily VWAP was here and it was below the IB low, that for me would be, I'd be more happy with that. But with the daily VWAP being in the way of me and my potential target, which is the IB low, I'm just making life harder for myself. Yeah. And you just have to look at the daily VWAP since what, 11 o'clock yesterday, we've not been below it. Exactly. So you're saying since pre-market yesterday, you're betting that we are going to go back below the daily VWAP for the first time, which it may do.
Yeah, and we also have so they're still slightly in line, but with this wick all the way back up, we're over the midpoint now. This wouldn't really signify shorts with the data based on the IB closure.
Yeah.
I think the overshadowing factor today is that we do have Kevin Warsh speaking pretty much all morning. So
yeah, it did go down the news, though, didn't it? Since he spoke, it's gone down.
The downers were correct. They win. I don't really have any indication off of which way we're going. I don't use view up, but I see that we're bouncing off it on your screen.
Yeah, the daily view up, yeah.
Heavy. Closing over the midpoint kind of signifies that we would go to the opposing direction, which is disappointing, but not really much that we can do off of that.
I think there's a stat as well on the what's in play today, 71% chance that the previous day high is broken. But
I did see that earlier, yes, but I don't think it had very many stats. I looked at the details for that as an example. I don't think it had very many data points for it. That was for SPY. SPY breaking the previous day high or low. That was for the inside bar stuff.
Would you not say that's a lot of data points?
That one has a lot, but that doesn't tell us if we're gonna go up or down, right?
It says previous day high broken. Close. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right.
Over within previous day's range.
Yeah. So you don't know, do you? Yeah. Could be either.
Yes.
It's like the inside bars, basically. You don't know which side it's gonna break. Yeah.
I would anticipate that we'd probably go down, but 6 minutes left. There's not really any.
But look at that bounce.
Did we sweep the low? We did sweep the low. So now that we swept, very nice bounce off daily view up right up into New York view up.
Look at ES as well. Let's have a look at ES. Look at the bounce off the view up there. That yellow box means the gap was filled. If you're wondering what that weird box is there, give it that. But yeah, look at that.
What we could use with that as well is the measure that we go back to IB low based on the closing zone. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
they're lined up for the shorts, which is decent. I'm not all that convinced that we go lower.
No, me neither.
We'll see. Is it possible to mix the 15-minute orb on ES and the IB only on days that ES shows there's an 80 and 90% odds in our favor? So IB on NQ, for example, probably only Monday, Tuesday, Friday. That would be something to ask Edgeful AI. Nico. You've noticed the orb rejection stats for the 15, 30-minute hour are all similar on Edgeful. It's interesting. I don't really have a read for which way this is going to go right now, everyone. I apologize.
Yeah. I don't like being pinched between the V-runs.
I think it's going to go lower, but Kevin Warsh could also come out and say something within the next 5-10 minutes that spikes it all the way back up. Testimonies to Congress are essentially just Congress reaming him with questions about why the market's not doing well, which obviously the market is doing very well. So it makes it all that much funnier. So like right now, for instance, I can pull it up. I'm not going to pull it up on this stream so we don't get copyrighted. But if you go to Kevin Warsh, should be, if you just look it up on YouTube, it should be live. Yes. Kevin Warsh, Fed Chair Kevin Warsh testifies before House. So is the House today and then the Senate tomorrow. You can watch it live. It's on Wall Street Journal right now, 1,033 watching live. He's just sitting all by himself, and he has the entire board, or just the select members of the House, just grilling him with questions. And then AI, which every firm has now, every Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, AI just comes out and reads, was that bullish that you just said? If so, we're going to pump the market up by 20, 30 points, or buy program right now, if not sell program. And that's why we retail traders have nothing to do with this data. We have no idea which way it's going to go. I think it's going to go down with the IB right now, but hard to say. We did, however, and I want your input on this as well, Dan. Newsweek lows and highs for CPI, and especially once we sweep one of those, we typically go and hit the other one. Do you use that at all?
Yeah. It's a bit ICT sort of talking about liquidity.
I've used it for like the 5-6 years that I've been trading using that data, and that's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah.
So he probably just said, let's see, I'll unmute for a second. He probably just said something bullish in a question that he answered.
Yeah. So you're talking about like this then, like I've marked up on the, so this 5-minute news candle, you're saying the high of that's likely to be taken at some point.
Correct, the CPI one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the 831.
So we typically, whichever side we sweep first, we usually go to the opposing direction.
No, I can see that. Yeah. We've already taken the low, haven't we? I do keep an eye on it. I did my ICT
boot camp
time.
Like everyone else.
Boot camp, yeah. Oh, those were fun times sitting in Tim Hortons watching ICT video for 2 hours of him droning on in his very, very monotone voice. As a former school teacher myself, I'd love to give him some feedback on
speaking,
communication, teaching. I mean, you have to look at his YouTube. I mean, geez, the amount of millions of subscribers and views he gets, but boy, oh boy, he could do so much better. And I think that there's plenty of traders in the retail space who have taken what he's taught, simplified it, and teach it a lot better and a lot more simply. You know?
That's what happens with everything. They regurgitate it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw, I meant to send this to Andre. There's a guy that's trying to pass off the IB as his own discovery.
Hasn't it been around since the 80s?
Yeah, it has, yeah. 70s. It's been around since the 70s.
Okay.
I got a good kick out of that. All the IB guys I interact with on X gave him crap. I responded to his tweet. Isn't that just
I was going to say, I'm surprised you haven't done a post yourself, sort of called him out on it.
That's because I'm going to reinvent it. It's going to be called the Zinc Hour.
The Zinc Hour.
I'm the only one ever to use the IV.
Buy my course.
I longed ES sweep a candle and orb low. Yeah, that was a response. I just saw it on Walter Bloomberg too. That was a response to something that he just said. I'm gonna pull it up again. Walter Bloomberg X. We're right at the 50% now, so a short would make sense. We were well over the 50% on SPY, which is a little icky. If we get over 50% in the next 10 seconds, so we'll wait here. We'll watch. 7:17:32. Let's see where this next candle opens. We opened underneath the midpoint. We can technically take a short.
Like that? Is that what you do? Would that be your risk parameters?
Yeah, and then the stop loss is at the 75. TP is at the low.
At the low. So you'd be look at that.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
So it makes it a 2-hour trade. That's what I'm going to do for this week. And then if that stop loss hits, I pivot the position to long off the IB75, stop loss at IB50.
IB50 entry then?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that because of the volatility? This week? Yeah, because of the volatility. Yeah. I don't want to get hit with excess losses like I did last week.
Yeah.
So the news post or what Kevin Walsh just said is Fed has no tolerance for inflation in first testimony as chairman at Capitol Hill. That's why we just had that was an 80-point candle up, I think.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
620 up to 7, almost 100 points actually. And then just that 1 minute candle as well. That one was 656 up to 80 points in a minute. So I mean, this would be my entry criteria for shorts. I don't think I'm going to take it because of Kevin Warsh speaking today. Well, I'll be much more comfortable taking it tomorrow because again, he's just saying the same. He's going to recycle the same lines he's been saying today. Today we'll probably end up going and winning though. EF shorts will be close below the 50.
If you look at ES though, ES
looks a lot stronger. It's over New York VWAP too.
Yeah.
I don't feel you guys will see over the next 2 hours. I'm not trying to say this to scare anyone. You'll see over the next 2 hours as Kevin Warsh is speaking. The same exact thing happened with Powell every single time he testified. They only do it twice a year, thankfully. This is a 2-time-a-year thing. They do it at the end of the fiscal year, which for whatever reason, the government's fiscal year is in, I think it ends on the last day of June. And then the first one he does is usually in February. And they testify to Congress. So it's live right now on YouTube. You can go and watch it. It's on the Wall Street Journal. All the tweets and posts that he has and everything that he replies to in terms of the questions he's asked, that causes the market to shift up and down.
Oh, ES, look at you.
Yeah, look at that push up.
Hello.
I think that could have... We also have the confluence that we took the Newsweek low, and we not only did we take it, but the 15-minute chart held that Newsweek low. I steal the chart back here real quick. We closed over the Newsweek low 716.50, so we should be heading back up towards that high. Should be heading back up towards that high. I think SPY is probably going to carry Qs up with it.
Yeah.
If we close above the 50 and QQQ closes below, does that affect your judgment? Yes. Yes, it does. Especially, you can see how nasty looking SPY's chart is right now, right? We had barely any selling pressure on SPY this morning. Even though it's gapped up a lot less than the Qs, it's still much stronger, which has been the recent trend. They just had another response to a question that caused us to push up here. So this one reads, consumer prices post their biggest monthly drop since 2020. His answer, that's their number one objective, is getting monetary policy right, saying that inflation over the long run is largely determined by the Fed. If we get policy right...
Whoa. Wow. Look at that.
Do you guys see why we don't trade this? I hope everyone understands now.
I'm so happy not to be in this today. After Friday.
And here comes the refresh post. Hold on.
Oh.
It is not a question whether we will get monetary policy right or not. Within my next 8 years as Fed chairman, I will get monetary policy right. We will be at the lowest recession rates and lowest interest rates recorded over the past 20 years. That's what he just said.
Wow. It's very sensitive.
Everyone in here understand why we don't touch this now? I know it seems odd to not go and take the IB on that trade because it was lined up for shorts, but this is 7 years worth of experience coming from me, knowing that of the 2 times a year this happens, it happens in February, it happens in July, when the chairman testifies to Congress. The same exact thing's going to happen tomorrow, by the way. This is the type of moves you get based on a question and answer from Kevin Warsh. You had no idea it would be that sensitive. It's his first one, too, so it's probably going to be a little more volatile than the rest of them. But you can, if you want to go on Twitter, I'll pull it up what I'm doing right now. Look up Kevin Warsh on Twitter. You can either go to the top or you can do what I'm doing and go to latest. Every time he says something significant, and again, he's just sitting in front of a table of all the representatives from the House They ask him a question. He answers the question. If the question goes well, you see what we just had in the 1 minute. What was that? How big of a candle was that on the 1 minute for M&Q?
Let's have a look.
Let's see. I have it from 1032 again. That was a 140 point candle. Not on the 1 minute. That was over 4 1 minute candles, but that 1 minute candle alone was 100 points.
Yeah. 5 minute candle.
Spike candles the last 2 days. It was sure high chance going to happen. Yes, absolutely.
Could you imagine?
Also, almost just took the Newsweek high again on SPY. Look how close we got. I don't know if you can see that wick or not, but we got a $1 off of that Newsweek high. It should go up there. So let's just refresh the page, go back to latest. Let's see. Regime change at the Fed, reducing bureaucracy, improving transparency, and focusing on price stability, inflation control. Looks like he's making some good baby steps in that direction. So that's probably what he just posted, or what his answer was to that question that caused us to spike up like that. All the biggest hedge funds right now, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citadel, they all have algorithms running while, and this is confirmed, by the way, this isn't hearsay, they all have algorithms that run during these press conferences that base the words that he says on bullish or bearish, and then that lines up with what they do in terms of buying and selling. And that's for the futures market because of how fast this happens on a day like today. So there's no point in probably holding positions through this longer than a couple of minutes, because every question he gets asked, it's over the 5 minute time frame. Again, this goes until 12 o'clock. So for the next hour and a half, this is going to be happening. You're going to have these 40, 50, 80, 100 point candles over the 1 minute time frame based on a question and answer, not based on direction in the market.
So can I get a quote from you then? You're saying the markets are run by the algo.
At the moment, yeah. Yes, they are. Again, it only happens 2 times a year. And then the other one you have to look out for, whenever the Fed president speaks at Jackson Hole. And that one's usually in April, I want to say. March or April in Jackson Hole. When will Kevin Warsh speak at Jackson Hole? Let's see. I think it's in March or April. Oh, he has one in August. Federal Chair Kevin Warsh speaks at Jackson Hole Economic Policy Symposium. Has been formally announced, but the event takes place August 27th to the 29th, 2026. I thought it didn't. What's his name do one this year? I thought Powell did one in April. Let's see. Date. Nope, never mind. It's in August. I was wrong. So August, in the next month, we'll have Kevin Warsh speaking at Jackson Hole. Trump touts U.S.-Japan trade and will investment deal in True Social. So there you go. There's another one from Trump. At 10:34. Friday was 10:32.
Yeah.
Yesterday was 10:26. Today is 10:34.
It's almost as if he means to do it at around 10:30, isn't it? Weird
it's
that.
His bathroom break. When he goes to the toilet, he's like, what am I going to tweet today?
While his traders place the trades, right? I read about that. It's like 80 trades a day or something.
Barron's holding the toilet paper for him. What are you going to tweet, Dad? Bullish or bearish?
Crazy world we live in.
Lost my eval on that wick. Don't trade it. It's always nice when I talk about something happening and it actually happens. And it's much better than me talking about the volatility and then if we just chopped like that for the next 2 hours without moves up or down. Or if the IB went and took the low and it actually won. And I seem like an idiot. Nick hired a whole trading team just for Trump. How do I get on that committee? How do I get to see Trump's tweets before they happen? Please. Barron orders the tweets. He dictates to Trump. Trump is the mastermind. No, Trump's boy is the mastermind. Who do you think moves the markets more, Trump or Fed chair? Historically, it's been the Fed chair, but Trump as of recently.
Yeah.
Biden never did anything like this to us. $140 left to go, $131 left to go. You got it, Sam. Now, and this is a little tricky because we also took the extension on SPY and Qs, which here's something else for you to add in, Dan. I've been working with this a little bit. IB by levels. We have, for most days, breakout or breakdown days, we have an 80+% stat to go to 0.2. Actually, for today, we had a 90% on SPY.
Yeah.
And we already went up and hit almost to 0.6. So that means if I go and validate it over to, let's go to Tuesday for SPY. We have a 77% stat to go to 0.6 for today. So it could happen. And look at that.
It's Jacob's strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, but we could use it for the breaks of the IB maybe. So he would be entering right now, from what I've gathered watching him on Fridays, he would be entering right now with his stop loss all the way at the low of the IB, or he'd be entering as soon as the IB broke right there, stop loss at the low, TP at 0.2. So his risk reward is like 0.18.
Yeah.
Biden couldn't find his phone. It fell into the couch cushions.
I'm not looking at IB75 longs today. Like I said, IB75 for me, it's done well, but with the volatility today, I mean, look at it now. This is exactly why I'm not looking at IB75. Just all it takes is the Fed to say one thing and it'll just tank again. So yeah, I'm not getting involved.
I'm going to say it nice and clear again. He talks for the next hour and 15 minutes. So everyone knows. Oh, Zero Edge just posted something. Let's see. Kevin Warsh made Maxine laugh. That's hard to do. This was what lined up with whatever Trump said. External task force will share first with policymakers. Nothing from task forces will be held in secret. So I guess that's a little bit better than. It's funny that they have the market right next to it, so you can see if you're watching this broadcast on CNN.
Yeah.
You can see SPY spike up 0.3%.
Yeah.
We got to get you on a different day, Dan.
IB high has been broken. Yeah, it's not. IB high has not been taken on MNQ or NQ. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we're still short. We're still yeah. How many points was it? I think it was like.
So it missed by
5 points.
QQQ took it handsomely. I don't know what you would do with that then. I guess longs up to IB high.
If you do an IB75, maybe, yeah. But all it takes is for him to say something and it's going to just tank again. Yeah, I'd be absolutely...
Like 2. Let's see.
Going to go for it?
So our high should be... Wow, that's crazy. Even on Webull, too. 835... Or 930 candle. 9:05. I was delayed by an hour. It is.
So your extra confluence will be the CPI wick above, yeah?
Oh, actually, on Weeble's chart, we took it. Trade8 hasn't taken it. Weeble did. The high was...
Oh, look at it now.
8:15. Yeah, we took it on Weeble. It says 8:21. What the heck are we meant to do with that? Go full port on gold. Yeah, let's see. Might as well.
Yeah, let me steal the screen for a second just to answer this one here. So basically, if I just pull this up, so basically, you've got to look at what is formed first, the IB high or the IB low. Today, the IB high has formed first and the IB low has formed second. So that's important in identifying which is the 25 and the 75. Because the low has formed second, basically, this red line here is the 25% retracement inside the initial balance, inside the IB. And then the purple line is the 50% retracement inside the IB. And then the green line you see here is the 75% retracement back inside the IB. So you need to be looking at what forms first for the IB high or the IB low. And that'll help you decide then which one is the 25, the 50, and the 75. It's all about retracement levels inside the IB. So I hope that makes sense.
If you guys want, we could also, I can reach out to the back end for Edgeful if you want a label put on the IB for the IB retracement levels, just the 25 and 75, so you know which one's which.
Yeah.
That's something you'd be interested in the stream.
See, look at this now, IB 75, exactly why I wasn't interested here.
Yeah, this is pretty messy. And we're at the mercy of what he says today.
Yeah, that's it.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Could you imagine though, right? Imagine this, right? A trader, he finds trading at the beginning of last week. He starts learning to trade, and for some reason, he just gets into the live markets on Thursday or Friday last week, and then sees the markets in the New York session moving like this. It must scare you like crazy, seeing how these candles move.
Yeah,
this is just.
I always used to think that. Imagine if you didn't know the data was going on.
Yeah.
If you were a trader that's brand new and you had no idea what was going on for market data that day, and you're just sitting here pulling your hair out, why is this happening?
Yeah,
we should go and take the Newsweek high, I think, but we're at the mercy. He could come out and say that we're not going to have a rate cut for the next 6 months at least, and we drop 2%.
Wasn't it yesterday? If I go back to yesterday's trade, it closed? Did it close? It did, didn't it? It closed between the IB0 and IB25. I think. Did 75. It do it on that? I mean, yeah.
75.
Yes. Did it do it on ES? Was it ES then it did it?
ES closed above the midpoint, so it still should have gone and taken the high.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
NQ closed 75 to 100%, which gave it 88% stat to go to the high.
Yeah. But the point is that when you've got these news events like this, you've got to be more cautious, even with data. Even because the data, the Edgeful data, it definitely. Since I started using Edgeful, I am so much more chilled in the trades, knowing I'm taking something that's 76% probability, 80%. But when you got news events like this, just be cautious, even with the Edgeful data.
This is the reason for us dropping now. This is what Kevin Warsh has said. Questioned on his coercion with Donald Trump, his communication with Donald Trump. Kevin Warsh answers, "We are independent. What if President Trump targets you or the governors for not cutting interest rates? I would continue to do my job. I plan on having no further communication with Donald Trump than I have to.
But he was Trump's choice, right?
Yeah, but Powell was as well.
Yeah.
Powell was also Trump's nomination.
Yeah.
My Edgeful API credit spread dashboard just signaled to enter 0 DTE on SPX, but below market. Exit by 2. Look to be about $80 per contract. Not touching it due to Walsh. Yes.
Yeah.
I had a call yesterday with someone talking about this. Actually, the difficulty with trading like this is when you're looking at Edgeful AI or API or the algos on Edgeful, they don't look into any of the news going on. They are mechanically designed to take the trade based on the fundamentals. When the trade, yeah, look at that. He must have said something else too.
Look at that. 80 points up. 80 points back up.
In a minute. The machines, the lie detector machine says that's a lie. Yeah, it probably is. The machine doesn't have emotions or other insight on the trades. It just takes the trade if the trade qualifies for what the setup is. So like today, it does not care about, honestly, credit spread will probably do well today because we're just going to continue to push up and down like this. We're probably not going to have a directional move because all the questions are varying in bullish and bearish nature. Like that one about Trump, had he answered, I'm assuming if he had answered it saying that I worked closely with Trump, we probably would have pushed up. Because the same stuff happened when Jerome Powell used to trash on Trump and what Trump was doing in office. And the market would fall because they weren't lined up with each other.
Yeah. That's where a bit of discretion helps a lot, doesn't it? On days like today. You have the data, but
the central bank will work on nothing other than inflation, and the main goal is to bring inflation down. More effort is needed to address and more information, so more resources will be put towards bringing inflation back down to 2%. And the market, like that one, back up 120 points.
Yeah.
And guess what, everyone? We get to do this again tomorrow.
Woo!
Today's in front of the House, tomorrow's in front of the Senate.
Look at that. So that was one quote. And then we had a
question right after.
And then we've had another question, which is that. And now we've had
another one.
The third one, right?
Just checking if I have this right. Today's IV close for NQ had bad stats. No. It closed between the 25 and 50, showing a 33% first break of the low for the past 6 months. Yes, but Summer Z, make sure that when you're looking at that data, you're also looking at the table. You saying that it's 33%, that immediately tells me that it's probably only 3 data points for that. So I'm going to go to Tuesdays for the 25 to 49% over the past 3 months on QQQ. And you said it was 33%. We only have 2 data points and 4.
I do 12 months for those.
Yeah, I usually go back to 2 years for this to get more.
2 years.
So over 2 years, it drops it back to us anticipating a break the low. On QQQ, we had a 71% stat to go and take the low. 14 data points, 4 of them lost, 10 of them won. No Globex or Asia tonight, right? Yeah, I'm going to be live still for them, but I may not trade them. We'll see. We do, again, have PPI tomorrow, so high impact news, and then we also have Kevin Warsh testifying to the Senate. And then on top of all that, we have the Fed Beige Book at 2 o'clock tomorrow, which is in line with FOMC minutes for the significance. This has been a pretty rough week for volatility already. The reason we've had so many V shapes So yesterday, we had a V-shaped back down at 2 o'clock because we had the monthly U.S. federal budget, which came in significantly under what it was implying. 120 billion. Median forecast was a negative 126. So I believe that means that they've spent 240 billion over what they were supposed to. Because negative for their budget means that they've actually saved money. And this 120 billion, they missed the previous by 100 billion, which is pretty rough. But this means that they, based on their forecast, they missed that by $240 billion. That's why we dropped like a rock yesterday at 2 and then continued even lower. And then, so that was to start Monday off. We had CPI this morning. We had a 1.2% move off that. We had Kevin Warsh speaking until noon, or we have him speaking until noon. PPI tomorrow, Kevin Warsh speaking for another 2 hours tomorrow. And technically, everyone, I know I keep saying until noon. He has as long as the questions go until. So for as long as they want to ask him questions, he has to sit there and continue to answer them. So he could go all the way until 1 o'clock. I think the max cutoff is 3.5 hours. It's typically 2 hours until noon. And then everyone goes and gets lunch and goes on with their day. And then we have jobless claims on Thursday, as always, and then import price index on Friday, which we don't usually have all of the price indexes within the same week, but this week we do. And then also having consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock. So this is a massive news week right now.
Yeah.
I bet you probably just said something else, didn't he? Or is that just a continuation of what he just said?
I think it's a continuation in it because it's kind of just grinded up. It didn't spike up.
Yeah. What's the minimum frequency you want? I stick to 6 months, but anytime the table on the data shows less than, I'd say, 5 data points like this, then I move it up to 2 years.
Yeah.
Why don't they do this after market closes? Because it's during the workday. This is when everyone works. 9 to 5. That's when all the work gets done. At the very least, Trump had the courtesy to make it so all Israel and Iran operations happen after Friday's close and before Sunday Globex open. So we don't have to deal with that volatility anymore. Thankfully.
Nice of him.
Yeah. What a nice guy. So that takes out, he does all that over the weekend and the strikes and the operations. Like this past weekend was the 20% tax on which is very close to a dictatorship, I'll add. That's like world conquering. Every ship that goes through the Strait of Hormuz now owes the US 20% for protecting it, which sounds a little fishy to me.
We had in Abu Dhabi this weekend, we had alerts on our phone again for like incoming missiles and stuff and everything.
Yeah, stinks.
Yeah. It's not been this week though, to be fair. It's been fairly quiet. It was just once over the weekend, I think. But
yeah, ooh, this one probably just hit crypto hard. No. Kevin Warsh stated that the U.S. should not bail out anyone, including the cryptocurrency sector. Takes a hardline stance against government intervention, asserting that the U.S. should not bail out any entity, including crypto.
Crypto's not reacting to it, though.
No.
Actually, it's
QQQ seems to like it, though. QQQ is a fan. I think we go up to the data high. I think we have a continuation up there. It's hard to say, though.
Problem is, it could chop around another 3 or 4 times more before getting
down. Absolutely. All right, guys, that'll do it for today. We are up to 11 o'clock now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just seeing M&Q hasn't taken the high. We would probably go take the high now, if I had to guess. Or within like the next hour, as long as he doesn't say anything bad. We will see you guys tomorrow. Dan will see you next Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.